Hi there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Boluwatife Denny, and if you're new here, I do a lot of makeup. I talk about manga, manhwa, and I do a lot of travel videos as well. So if that's what you like, please do click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Please. Thanks. So the manga we're going to be talking about today is Paradise Kiss, also known as Para Kiss. It is a manga illustrated and created by Ai Yazawa. It is a coming-of-age romance for the demographic of josei.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are being forewarned. There are spoilers ahead. If you believe that this will irritate your soul, I do believe for you to pause this video right now and skip to the end. Okay? You have been warned.
I think the reason why it's become such a hot topic is also because of the anime. And after the anime, they actually did have a live action movie made from it as well. It's actually one of the most appropriately, for that age of 18, discussed manga. There's so many themes, heavy ones as well, in this manga. And honestly, the author of the manga, Ai Yazawa, she's very well known for putting in these sort of heavy themes, especially for her romance. I will start this with what the manga is about, tell you about the different characters, then go into the themes surrounding this manga, and then I'll give you an analysis of it with my own biased judgment. You have been warned, okay? This is going to be a lot of bias, okay? I really like this series, but I also have to be honest with this series. Before I go on, I just feel like I need to say that. I need to get this off my chest, off my chest. It has one of the best endings ever in romance that I've set my eyes on. One of the best. The synopsis is our main female lead. Her name is called Yukari Hayasaka. We're just going to call her Yukari for short. There are 5 other main leads apart from our main female lead. So 5 plus our main female lead will make it 6. Like I said, it's very simple, and I just love how organized this manga is. Yukari Hayasaka has led a life of boredom until a group of students, Miwako Sakurada, Arashi Nagase, Isabella Yamamoto, and George Koizumi from Yazawa School for Arts, discover her. They want her to be their model for their school yearly end-of-year fashion show. But Yukari outright refuses. Their leader, George Koizumi, which is our main lead in this manga series, has set his eyes on her after seeing her school photo, will not take no for an answer. Yukari eventually chooses to be in the fashion show and soon starts to develop feelings for George. Originally, she had a crush on her fellow classmate, Hiroyuki Tokumori, and coincidentally, she learns that Miwako, Hiroyuki, and Arashi are childhood friends, and she wishes to reunite all of them. Albeit, George and Yukari continue to grow closer to the point where Yukari could not even stop thinking about George, and then they meet and kiss. I'm going to start off with the themes because I just feel like it's easier for me to start off with the themes and then I go into the characters. So I'm reading this from Rise Digital, written by so this is How Yazawa Ai Achieves Bittersweet Bliss with Paradise Kiss, written by Lilia Helal. And I think she puts it quite plainly. And this manga, I have to put a trigger warning, talks about abuse, rape, transphobia, bisexuality as well. So if this is not up to your cup of tea, I do suggest please skip. Okay, you can. I don't need no hatred right now. Aizawa is someone that a lot of people in the manga world we know of. Okay, we know who this woman is. She writes the most realistic coming of age romance stories, and knowing that when she wrote this was back in the 90s, She really was like, some of the themes that I feel like we all really need to know, like I said, is the exploration of sexuality, okay? The discovering of your drive for living, and also how realistic the concept of this coming of age where like your first love does not always work out. And I love how she Aizawa always tackles this. She basically tells you, look here, your love is not gonna work out, but try your best. Those are the themes. There's also things of manipulative abuse between the two main female lead and male lead. This is their first romance. Paradise Kiss follows Yukari Hayasaka, but in the manga she has a nickname called Caroline, given to her by Isabella Yamamoto. Who is Yukari? She is a beautiful high school girl with gorgeous long black hair. So another thing is to know, all of these kids are all between the ages of 17 to 18. Senior, so they're high school seniors in their respective high schools. She studies dutifully for her university entrance exams. She kind of finds meaning in her repetitive life of always studying and cramming. She is a student at a prestigious high school. She begins with a snobbish attitude towards the fun outgoing students from Yazawa School for Art students. We're just going to shorten it to YSA. She has long black hair and naturally tall. She's tall for an average height in Japan. She's naturally Lilith figure, so basically she hardly adds on weight. After she's scouted by Arashi and kidnapped by Isabella on the street, because she ran away at first, because Arashi is someone who is quite eccentric. I think that's the best terminology I can use for him. He's got piercings everywhere. She's going towards her cram school, which in Korea you call it a hagon, which in the Western world you call it like a private tutoring area. She bumps into Arashi and he's just like, oh my god, you're tall, you've got beautiful long black natural hair, please be a model for us. She outrightly is like, no. But after she is scouted, her attitude towards them begins to change to one of admiration for the students' passion and drive. So she realizes that, hold on, this four kids, same age as her, they already know what they want to do with their life. They're going for what they want to do with their life, regardless of anything. And here she is, stuck doing something that she clearly knows she's not going to do. And yet, here she is doing it. Her intense relationship with George pushes her to grab hold of her identity despite the fact that she feels he is a cold and manipulative man. One thing I will compliment this manga for is the fact that we are given her thoughts. But not just that, she's so self-aware, and it's so amazing to see her grasp this and realize this. The members of Parakis support her as she discovers new depths to her ambition. Now on to George Koizumi. So his name is Jo Koizumi, but he calls himself George. He's a senior at Hezawa Fashion High School with a gift for fashion design, especially haute couture. Although his personality may appear cold, he lives a hedonistic and extravagant ideas on everything, most of which are not accepted by the mainstream. So most of his fashion, when I was reading it, I was like, yeah, ain't nobody gonna wear this on the road. Like, his eccentric was that of like, he was definitely inspired by like the Victoria era, because some of his styles, I truly questioned it. I was like, what is this man doing? George is bisexual and expresses himself as an equal opportunity lover. He refers to Yukari as both his muse and a tease. He wishes for her to become an independent woman, which is something that you really see. He really wanted her to be her own woman. He wanted her to be able to make her own decisions, make up her own mind. That was his ideology of his perfect woman, which unfortunately was a lot heavy for her, because this is someone who she's never ventured out of her parents' rules, especially her mother's rules. She's never done that. And so his need for her and want for her for what she should do ended up becoming a little tad bit, if not toxic. Okay. He lives a kind of like rich kid bachelor lifestyle, but unfortunately his mother was a mistress, so he rarely sees his father. He's someone who kind of suffers from abandonment issues because his mother was a model. She basically said, I wish I never had this kid. And you know, when if you're someone who has that sort of parent and this is what your parent is saying, is like, what? And she also wanted to have him just so she could keep the dad. Meanwhile, this guy has like 200 plus mistresses outside. His whole lifestyle is funded by his dad. Despite the dad being someone who has plenty of mistresses, he does pay for his kids, financially wise. The next person is Miwako Sakurada. So she is a bubbly, pink-haired student of the same fashion school that George goes to, YSA. She works with George to run their brand, Paradise Kiss. She's the younger sister of a Happy Berry designer, very well known, Mikako Koda. They literally look alike so much. She feels pressure to live up to her own sister's success. She carries around a jar of Competto candy to make her feel better by reminding her of how she's loved. She tends to act rather childlike and has both a Lolita style of dress and unique vocabulary. So basically she talks a lot in third person. And she's dating Arashi Nagase. She's a childhood friend of both Hiroyuki and is Hiroyuki's first love. She's adored by many of the characters and becomes Yukari's closest friend. Next, we go to Arashi Nagase. He's a student of YSA, a taste of punk style and alternative music. He is the son of a musician. That's what influences his lifestyle, like the way he dresses as well. He scouts Yukari in the streets of Tokyo. He is a childhood friend of Miracle turned boyfriend and Hiroyuki. He has an inferiority complex to Hiroyuki due to the fact of how Hiroyuki is and also the fact that Miwako also loved Hiroyuki. Next, we have Isabella Yamamoto. She is the mother figure of the members in Parakiss. She is transgender. Okay, so she was originally born a man and then turned female. Because she was the inspiration for why George started designing female clothing, because she's a childhood friend of George's, and she told him when doing much younger that, you know, he just has this feeling that he was born in the wrong body. So he designed her a nice little dress when they were younger and told her, hey, why don't you still wear it? You know, just wear the clothes and start and try. And so he started, and then eventually he realized that this is who he was meant to be. He is tall and he's the epitome of high class and femininity. She encourages Yukari when she needs it most. So other people encourage her, but she's the one that tended to sit with Yukari and actually tell her, look, think about it. Next, we've got Hiroyuki Tokumori. So he was, at the start, the crush of Yukari. He's intelligent and a handsome prodigy who was the object of her affections at the start of the manga. He was once in love with Miwako, but Arashi forbade Miwako from seeing him. Yeah, there's a whole abuse in this and manipulation. He now gives advice to Rashido because as the story progressed, Yukari actually helped bring all three of them, and helps them mend their friendship together. He is the top of his class and aspires to become a doctor. He eventually falls for Yukari, who thinks that why would he show interest in a girl like her? He expresses his frustration at always being second best. I mean, come on, he had a crush on Miwako, but then she ended with Arashi, and now he has a crush on Yukari, but she likes George. One thing about this manga that I like is that it tackles the Japanese culture. So it goes through by showing the pressures of the working class, the inferiority, you know, felt by people who are not academic, and also it shows explicit sexual scenes between high school students, something that you wouldn't normally see, especially in 90s Japan manga. Like, what the hell? And it also so good at showing and trying to reinforce your mind about, you know, the taboos of like transphobia, at sort of those topics and the topics of abuse. So Yukari basically goes through, I say, yeah, physical and mental abuse by her mother, Yasuko, who keeps trying to enforce her that, you know, everything is about prestige, prestigious high school. Like the high school you go to, the university you go to, it has to be one where like it is well known by like everyone, okay? You can't just go to some yucky ass university. It has to be one of prestige. It has to be one of high ranking. Yasuko, like her mother, pretty much forces her to go to all of this cram school. You can tell from the first conversation she has with the YSA students, you guys are clearly beneath me. I go to a prestigious school. That is the one thing that I really liked, is that it really brings to light all this unnecessary pressure by her mother. Now we go into the romance aspect of the manga. The romance in this is definitely not one for the books. Like, bruh, it toxic. We can tell from the start off that George and Yukari's relationship is so unhealthy. He has this ideology of a perfect woman, that she's independent, doesn't need no one to tell her what to do. She knows what she wants. But then he has, like I said, abandonment issues. So despite the fact that he wants her to be independent, he gets upset when Yukari doesn't tell him things. To top it off, he doesn't even tell her shit either. He doesn't tell her anything about his problems. She has to discover it from his friends in Parakis or his friends from the university, which I think is very hypocritical and unfair of him. You also have Yukari. She wants her mom to accept her, so she tries her best to be a good student, be good in school. But then she meets this group of people who know what they want in life, and she also meets George. She went from closeted pushover due to her mother to freedom and independence with no transition time. She went from one extreme to the other. The imbalance of their relationship is shown as George had time to know what he wanted. Meanwhile, she had no idea what she wanted. It's really a bittersweet exploration of first love and how first love doesn't always work. This one really depicts what majorly happens in your first love. Then we go into Arashi's rape issue with Miwako. So Arashi has an inferiority complex to Hiroyuki. Because Hiroyuki, he's a good student, he's smart. Like I said, he's a prodigy. Arashi is not a prodigy. Miwako loves both of them, and both of them love Miwako. But Arashi's like, nope, she has to be mine. And during their first time, Miwako did not consent. And Hiroyuki actually lets him know this, that look, the fact that she stayed with you tells you how much she must like you. You raped her, but she didn't hate you for it. Instead, she accepted it. She went on the next day like nothing happened. Another explanation is exploration of inferiority complex. Arashi has an inferior complex to Hiroyuki, as mentioned before. Hiroyuki is a prodigy whilst he's not, and also due to the fact that Miwako loved both of them. Yukari felt inferior to her brother as her brother became the prodigy that her mother has always wanted, and due to Yukari always wanting to please her mother, she just felt inferior to her brother and felt like she was less loved. This was shown in the manga quite frequently as to how inferior complexes can deteriorate someone's mentality, making them do something that's way more than what they would normally do. In the case for Arashi, he ended up raping Miwako, and in the case for Yukari, she ended up running away from home. The last theme explored is the exploration of self-awareness. Despite me seeing George almost like a scumbag, but he's not. He is the catalyst for Yukari changing. He was the catalyst for her wanting to change herself, wanting to go for her own dreams. That was one of the reasons why they fell in love, and that's one of the reasons why I like this manga so much. The love is easy, it's smooth, it's something that can happen in the real world. For the first time ever, Yukari had someone who was willing to listen to her. She even said it. She even said, I'm so sorry if I'm boring you and I'm talking too much about myself. And he's like, no, it's your life. It could never be boring. It's about yourself. This is the part of the video where I give you my biased opinion. I like this manga, full stop. One thing I do like in the ending is the fact that Yukari ends the relationship. They lusted for each other. That is the best terminology. But there was no respect. He did not respect her. He never once told her anything about his life, like about his issues, about his problems. He told her about his background, but he didn't tell her any of his issues. Like, he made all his decisions without her. And if you're in a relationship, I'm sorry, especially when you realize you want to, if you know you want to go long term, there's so many things you come together with. And I think this is how we knew that they were not going to go long term, because not once did they both consider each other. She really wanted to mold herself, bring herself into the woman that he was, but he was not even consistent with the sort of woman he wanted. So that just became all this thing. And she just realized, look, it's too much. This emotional pull of pull and go. You want me to be independent, but then you want me to rely on you. That, it was too much for her. And mind you, this people are 18. I do feel like there are some parts that I feel like she should have explored a bit more, especially in the part of Arashi and Miwako, that rape part. I just felt like she could have explained it more, and I definitely think she should have said, guys, this is not okay, because not once neither Arashi nor Miwako come back and talk about it. Also, we need to remind ourselves in this manga that their relationship, I kid you not, was, I think, only a month or two. It was the definition of a whirlwind. And I'm so happy she ended up with Hiroyuki, because he was much more stable and he was much more understanding of her. I think she only wanted to just pinpoint the aspect of targeting the whole point of coming of age, targeting the whole point of whirlwind romance. There are certain relationships, even just friendships, that you end up in that doesn't always end up the way you want it to. Sometimes they're just there to refresh you, to remind you of who you are and where you can be in your life. All right, that's the end. That's the end of the video. That is all for today. Do subscribe, like, comment, recommend what you want me to read next, because I am here for you every Sunday. Well, every 3 Sundays. Bye.